Hello and welcome to another game of Bar Beyond All Reason. Where in this game, as you saw from the good old thumbnail and probably the title, you'll see it's going to be a frontline focused video where we're really just going to be paying attention to two main players who pretty much have control over the entire game. And I feel like it's just a perfect example of what it is a frontline should be. And we're just going to transition into it here and get it going. And go ahead and put it on 2x speed just to get things initially started. Now I want you to notice Narnok here, our team captain for the blue team, is going with his mexes, of course. Not really moving his commander too much, which is a nifty thing you should always do. It has one wind turbine, and then he immediately guns it for the water, as he should. And then we have Gof, our second player in command, hosting the silver chevrons. As you can see here, he's already given 2 wind turbines to his friendly player, and then he's getting his mexes and taking his time really getting his energy and stuff situated on the land, even building an energy storage. Now if we come back over to Narnok, he's already got his shipyard going with Tech 1, and of course going out with the construction ships to go ahead and do what he needs to do. Now, even though I said it would mostly be on 2 players, mainly Narnok and Gof doing a cheeky little transport there to get to the island, which is pretty good despite doing all the stuff on the mainland. He has actually taken control of this island, and later in the game you'll see he was never actually contested for it, at least not very much at all. And I want to say props to Big Sean 2000 over here for being the first one to get his units in the center of the map and able to get a little bit of nice information, just knowing that the red team is going really slow, not able to keep up with the pink counterpart over in this little center lake, pool, lagoon, beach thing over here. And then I want to give congrats to French Dip, who wasn't as fast as Gof on taking the island, but still able to take it uncontested. Strategic positions should always be looked out for, especially in any game, any map, any situation. If you can make a strategic position, lock it down, and get there quickly before the enemy team, then you already have a significant advantage over the enemy. Now, let's go ahead and introduce the red team captain over here. Lost a dead man, silver chevrons with a 46 skill rating. Now that's some serious skill going on right there. Actually, I think, he's actually the highest open skill player in our lobby right now. Now, as I said before, we're going to be paying attention to these two over here. Notice how Gof has not only secured his position, he has a radar for information, and he's already got his naval shipyard in place in order to really do some nice work there. And then we have Narnok also getting some cleaner information, not obstructed by anything, unlike Ghosts, and getting that nice intel, really being able to see a wide portion of the base, of the enemy's base and defenses and what they got going on. Now, we're going to notice here that these two are going to be contested quite heavily. I mean, they're literally right neck and neck from each other. You can't get more contested than that when it comes to a significant advantage of the center. And there's also going to be Zodi and Gof duking it out over here in the sea themselves. And as you can see, Zodi's already kind of taking a little bit of an advantage. That's okay. That's pretty good for him. And it looks like he's going to get one more shot. Yep, there it is. And he's got it. All right. Let's go ahead and do a zoom out a little bit. Let's see what's going on with the rest of the team real quick. Now, as you can see, the line is kind of funky a little bit. It's kind of weird. It's going in this weird wavy fashion. And as you can see, Machine DL is being overrun significantly by donuts over here on the right side of the map. But if we come over to a Gof side, we could see that the yellow player lost his advantage really quickly. Gof has 2 shipyards, well, 1 shipyard going, but he's supporting it with his commander, really doing what he can, while Lost Dead Man is trying to support 2 two fronts just to help out Zadi, who is doing his best, but not quite. I mean, he even lost his his shipyard over here, or at least he's building another one. Attempting to. And we have Narnuk and Lost Deadman duking it out. Doing some nice micro over here by Narnuk, going back and forth, keeping his units moving. You really don't want your units staying still, rather they're in the sea or in the or on land. You really don't ever want to stay still with your units. You want to keep them moving, even though this is mostly a front line. It's a good microwing tip, because being on the front line, you're gonna be microing the whole time. You got to pay attention to what's going on. You got to keep focused as to what you're going to be doing, because you give any amount of dead air time with your base in the back, and you're not jumping back to help your units out, keep them moving instead of holding just a simple position, because they will get taken out easily. As you can see here, Deadman is having a bit of a hard time. Can't really get anything built, can't really do too much, so he has these construction turrets over here to try to help out speed up the process. But Narnuk is speeding up his production, getting more and more units, even repairing them underneath the water. And if we come back over here, Zadi just never really recovered. He lost his base once initially to Goth, and now Goth is taking full advantage of it. And significant advantage of that. And right now I want you to pay attention to this little maneuver here. You don't need too much team communication to actually get what's going on here to happen. A double flank on Lost Deadman, completely lost his base. He couldn't hold the line, and bam, now he's lost his commander, which is significant. This changes the game. That's what I'm saying. These two players held the entire left side and pretty much dominated over here. And with Zadi kind of just over here on his lonesome, cut off and isolated, he's not going to be able to do anything. Now you're going to see another significant, I would say, difference between, I would say pro players and the newer players is that they're going to take advantage of this. There's no one here to stop them from just pushing forward into the enemy's territory, really making a difference and just weakening all of their structures, doing as much damage as they possibly can. Zadi's even retreating a bit, and the pink player's trying to just hold his own line, but it's pretty much lost almost at this rate, because now they're going to have a swarm. And as you can see, despite Donuts here having more of an advantage on the right side, he still has to compete with 1, 2, and 3 players on the right, and he's not going to be able to make too much progress. Even if they're a little slow on the uptake, it's going to be pretty hard for him to push all the way through by himself. Key thing there, by himself. And other players on the red team aren't really doing too much, I'll admit that, but that's okay. Now let's get back to the main focus here of these two working together in tandem to actually make this push. And then, as you can see, Narnuk here getting more information of all the enemy structures, doing all they can to really get as much intel as possible. Pink trying to slowly snipe it, and he did get it, thankfully, for the red team, but it's a bit too late. Information's already gotten, and it did a job. He did his job. Gof cleaned up Zadi's little leftovers there, even though he is trying to move back, trying to reposition, make himself stronger. But as you can see here, this entire left side has been squeezed in a little bit. They're going to have less space to work with, less for them to do anything over on the red team. And then we have a lot of metal that they're pointing out here, but it's a little bit too contested, I would say, for that. Or it's a little too late, at least, for it to matter too much. And as we can see here, yep, Gof and Zadi just moving in. Lost Deadman, despite having the highest skill, he can't defend two strong players at that by himself. Even despite Zadi being here, he's really not helping out too much. The pink player doing as best as they can, but I think their focus was just on holding and building out just a bunch of metal extractors and mines. Oh, torpedoes. Yeah, it's yeah, it's pretty much over here at this rate, but that's okay. Okay, despite what's going on. The red team is actually holding up pretty well. Lost Dead Man doing what he can to just keep his ships prepared, along with the construction turrets and everything he's trying to build up. Even has a resurrected Riptide over there, along with the help of Zadi, who has 2 construction turrets, and his commander, putting out a lot of build powder, a lot of build power on the Tech 1 shipyard, while Narnuk and Gulf have ceased their assault, at least for the most part, for the time being, because as you'll notice, Tech 2 is on the way to finish it off and clean up what is left. Now you'll also notice over here, let's go to more of a aerial view to see what's going on. The map has completely shifted 100% in blue team's favor, giving them a nice inward squeeze from the troops here, as you can see, with a lot of pressure coming in from the left flank, with the other side not really able to do much of anything. I mean, even better strategy over here is coming in for a few runs, a few bombing runs to see what he could do. And we didn't show it earlier. Oh yeah, the anti-nuke over here, because our pal MDXD has a nuke which is slowly charging up and gonna be doing its best to clean up the game, along with our 2 frontliners over here doing the best they can. Zadi and Lost Dead Man have somewhat gotten their forces back, even building up a battleship, which is saying something despite what was going on so far with everything happening. Now you're seeing a little bit more cooperation from Petru coming in from the middle, since now it is pretty much secure and in their favor. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this over here. Yeah, they just pretty much took over the complete right side. No real threats of any kind, simply because there was no naval presence on the right side of the map, at least not a strong naval presence, because as we saw earlier, one person cannot take on an entire army by themselves, no matter how much they try to do that. It's just not going to work, especially in the long run, as we now come into Tech 2 and Tech 3 ships, bringing in a lot of firepower. My goodness. And while we're holding off in this little section right now, let's go ahead and go into F5 and just to watch as it slowly unfolds. The storm, the cable. What's it? The rain before the storm or something like that? Alright. Go ahead and take a sip of this Earl Grey tea. For some reason now it's 7 in the morning. Still recording this. Alright, let's go ahead and pull back a little bit. And we're going to speed things up just to watch it all unfold in a nice pace, so we don't have to sit through everything completely, because my goodness, that is a lot to sit through. And as you can see, MDXD over here launching his nukes, and the first person to resign was, Lost Dead Man himself. After that nuke, yeah, it completely destroyed all hopes and dreams of anything ever happening. And now Mzadi and Rimu going in for the resign, finishing off this game for us completely. Now, as things come to a close and the end screen's gonna come up, let's go ahead and just talk about that little maneuver here that we saw from Gulf. And well, just drop it down half so it doesn't end completely just yet. Now, actually, can we pause and draw? Yes, we can. Fantastic. From what we saw here, that was a straight flanking maneuver. I wasn't sure if it was communicated by the 2 players, but I feel like it's a pretty strong moment to talk about, as you do a double flank on any front line members, noticing that there's quite a lack of consistent pressure or anything. If you're able to do so, just do it. I mean, you're going to destroy the player at the middle, and they're going to have no chance of having any kind of recovery. And as you saw, they didn't wait after the push. I mean, you didn't even need to really communicate push in order for it to be a straightforward understanding that now since one player is down, you go for the kill. Excuse the bad drawn arrows. But yeah, you go for the kill. As it would easily be done to destroy the remaining bit of their, at least I would say, secondary, somewhat first position, depending on how large the map is. And of course, you're going to be running into a little bit more trouble depending on how the team actually reacts to this. But it was just a clear-cut strategy of them dominating this complete side of the map, I would say. And as we saw from other beige player donuts here, he was doing a lot. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was doing a lot, pushing on both sides, doing what he could. But as long as French Dip over here controlled this little bit of an island, and then 3 versus 1. Oh, I guess the arrows don't go away since the game's paused. But that's alright. Yeah, but 3 versus 1 on this side over here. On the right side of the map, we could see that it just wasn't going to work no matter how much he tried, unless he really got aggressive and pushed Tech 2 on his own. But yeah, it's pretty hard to do as a Tech player, especially when you have probably two players playing backline, or 3 players playing backline, when they should see all the chaos going on and be paying attention to what's going on here in the game, and actually, I would say, at least send strong amounts of air, strong amounts of hovercrafts, anything at this rate, to kind of just at least support the left side, because the left side over here was just dying and struggling on its own. There was no real support or help. As we saw, I don't even think they really had too much anti-nuke of any kind. At least the blue team only scouted this anti-nuke on the right side of the map, as we saw, and was taken advantage of by Empty XD, who completely just destroyed Deadman's forward base, ending the game for him, at least first off. And then Zodi and everyone on this left side kind of just followed suit, with Reem slowly self-destructing everything himself. But let's go ahead and unpause. Hopefully these arrows go away. That way it looks a little cleaner here, thankfully. And let's go ahead and just, not to mention the power and everything. I didn't even talk about the power. There was just not enough time for it. Oh, these statistics? No, not these statistics, although they are nice. Let's go to the graph here. Now, I also want to mention this graph because I know this one on MC is mouse clicks per minute, I think. Now, let's go ahead and notice that at the end of this, Narnuk and Gof, Narnuk pretty much almost doubled Gof's mouse clicks per second, or per minute. But 302 is an astonishing amount, and that plays a significant advantage as to what you're doing, and it shows the amount, I would say, of experience, or at least your participation of what you're trying to do and what you're aiming for. Was this commands per minute, I think it means, for over here, and 165 taking the leap out of everyone, which is pretty significant. Now, that just shows when you're playing frontline, you need to know your hotkeys. Backline too, but in the backline you have more time, a little bit more leeway, a little bit more breathing room. But in the frontline you don't. In the frontline you have to just go straight into it, continuing on the fight, continuing on improving your own base, because there's no telling if the backline, as we saw with the other players, is going to be going Tech 2 for you, or is going to be trying to help go alongside to at least give some kind of support. So to show he has 165 commands and 147, not too far behind for Gove, which probably makes his mouse clicks per minute more efficient, despite being a lower number. He had to do less clicks, but got a lot more bang for the buck out of it, which is pretty good to see. I would say these end screens here probably aren't analyzed enough. I gotta learn what the rest of these other was that metal per minute? It's probably metal per minute, maybe. Ah, but that's not that important if it's metal. ACS, I don't know what that means. If you know, leave it down, comment down below. And I would say this is a good point to end it. So, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you like what I'm doing, maybe I can try to do a video every day. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you're feeling, what days work for you, and how was your holidays? Tell me on that one. And, alright, adios.